You can probably start.
Oh, are we now live?
Oh, yay! Hello, everyone! Welcome to this month's Town Hall meeting. I'm CM Dragonlark. I've taken over for Veritas since her throat is sore. We don't want her talking, so she can't talk. And we're here with...
I'm Njoror, producer of Ragnarok 2.
Yes, I'm a CM for Dragon Saga and Rose, not RO2, but I'm helping. Alright, we're going to be answering your questions from what I understand of how this goes. But first, Njoror is going to take over for an intro.
So basically just kind of going over what's going on in RO2 right now. For those of you that have been playing the game, you know that our pirate event is ongoing. We have quests in game. We have 3 unique titles that you can get. You can go farm doubloons by picking up those buried treasures on the beaches. We put in our September Lucky Box is in the shop, plus we have a honing sale right now. And the September Lucky Box is actually on sale for a week till it goes away on Monday. We put in new diamond boxes, trying to see if you guys like that. We were trying to introduce some new boxes at lower price points and kind of bringing the whole thing down, because we know that everybody really liked those lower prices we were doing for a while leading up there. So if you have feedback on that, post it in the forums, get it to us however you can. We have the alpaca mount that's in there. For those that weren't around last year, it's actually a design that one of the players made that we got into the game. So that's in there. And then, like we've been doing a lot of quality of life improvements to the game, a lot of bug fixes that you'll see at the bottom of the patch notes this week. But yeah, that was this week. Next week, we should have Halloween stuff coming. A lot of stuff you've seen before. There's going to be a cosmetic item I don't think anyone has seen before that we're going to try and put in the Phantom Pyramid. So if you have Phantom Stones, make sure that you save up on those. But we'll have a guide and everything out, so if you haven't done the Halloween stuff before, you'll be able to check it out. So for a while, there's going to be Pirates and Halloween overlapping. So that would be cool.
The best of both worlds.
Yep.
And alpacas. Pirates, alpacas, and Halloween. Is it question time? Is that...
I think so.
All right. This is what I'm here for. I'm really excited. So I'm going to say the questions. I'm going to read your guys' questions, and then Njoror is going to give answers. Yay! I just imagine children screaming with happiness in the background. All right, and here we go. So Arbalist asked, what do you see as your greatest challenges for RO2 in the coming months, i.e., new development, reworking old systems, community issues, pineapple pizzas, etc.?
Not pineapple pizzas. So I wrote down some stuff, but I know it's kind of lame just to read off of it, so I'm going to try and answer these questions and reference what I wrote down. But the greatest challenge has been, because we didn't design and develop this game from scratch right now, it's a lot of understanding how certain things work on the back end, how we can change it, how we can fix it, how we can add new stuff to it, and improve those things. We've been doing a lot of improvements that you may not even be aware of in the game that have just helped out the game on the back end a lot, that have been tied together. One example is we met earlier to talk about costume and accessory fusion and how we can make that whole process easier, more approachable for the players, bring in new items for it, and sort of meet some requests that we've had from the community for years with that. So that's a project that we're also going to be working on, and you'll see sometime soon. That we don't know exactly when, but when it's ready, it'll be out. Juggling all those different things at the same time. For veteran players, they know that there's a lot of stuff that RO2 could be added to RO2, could be changed about it, could be fixed, balanced, all those issues. So that's everything that we're kind of working on right now, the biggest challenges.
All right. On to the next question. This is from XXMN. What happened to the new artwork Njoror mentioned several times for the character standby fix? If you'd made some new unfinished artwork for the login selection pages, is it ever going to be completed and released in a future past?
So this answer is going to suck because I think I know what he meant, and it was on a previous town hall where I mentioned that we were working on getting rid of the standby list and expanding character slots, and we were waiting on certain art assets. it wasn't a new complete art background, but it was assets we needed to expand to. So it's not as exciting. It's just like the buttons and whatnot that we needed to get done in order for it to be complete and it to work. Not a new background entirely. So yeah, that's the answer for that one.
All right. This question's by Wiccaden. It's like many parts. It's all one question, I believe. As they go with the balance of classes, skills, status, role, etc., and daily quests, bounty, gained experience, etc., what is now achieved with Edgar coins? Any new items? We will have and feature gold runes to justify losing 2 slots. We can express our thoughts about some problems. For example, I consider the wizard needs a remodeling and all skills tree of wizard. Those of the magician tree are okay. The wizard trees are mostly bad.
I'm going to try and answer this as best as I can. If I miss some parts, just let me know. Your thoughts about the Edga stuff is sort of part of what we're discussing to revitalize older zones. So it's part of like how we want to streamline leveling and make changes and make it sort of not as grindy to get up to max level. We want people to feel like they can level with their friends or level by themselves and get to stuff together. And so adding certain other things like more items for Edga coins to make those areas more relevant would certainly be part of that. I think locked hold on. You mentioned skill trees of wizard. The next several months we'll be focusing on balance. We figure we want to roll out balance changes before we make any considerable changes or updates to certain PvP systems. Not saying that there can't be any like updates to rewards you get from the Coliseum rounds, but a big problem with like PvP right now is balance, is stat creep, and it's causing one shots and it's causing inconsistent damage between classes, and certain people roll certain classes because they'll do more damage, and so not just the wizard, though I like that is, I mean, that's my favorite class, so we'll definitely focus on that, but everything will be looked at.
Awesome. This question is by 5840150903060709343.
Steam player.
Yes. I believe they have more than one question, but this is their first question. Concerning classes, balance and increase the depth of various classes, allow them to have different skill trees. Okay, I think this is like a suggestion question. All right. For example, damage route, you have sufficient damage, 1 tank and 1 healer with enough healing. This kind of class options will make play more diverse. Healers or tanks also would be able to fight monsters and complete quests on their own.
So there was this question, there's going to be another question that's later on that I read that is about sort of allowing classes to have, it seemed like, more routes to take. This one says using the, is this the one that has the skill trees, or I'm not sure, but the other one suggested having different armor sets for, like, if you're a knight, you have a damage armor set versus a tanking armor set, something like that. I like the idea. It's something we're keeping in mind. Redoing the skill trees instead of like completely redoing them, that's going to be a much bigger undertaking than focusing on changing and fixing what is there right now. Coming out with new items, new armor sets that have DPS focus versus a tank focus versus a healer focus. Even that I think would be an easier thing to tackle than redoing the trees. I like the idea of redoing the trees. It's something that could come maybe sometime in 2017. Right now, our balancing efforts are going to be what's there, because that way we can turn it around and work on it and test it and get it to you guys sooner instead of having to sit on it for a while, which would take a long time.
And this is from the same player. The release of more cards to increase the roll of the card, as well as increase the chance of strengthening a card in order to help keep players interested in their collection of cards.
So with balance stuff, all the side systems that go towards how well your character plays is part of that. Seed runes, card refinement, card collection is going to be a part of it. For a long time, we wanted to fix card refinement. It needs to be more approachable as far as people getting higher levels, but also there's an issue with stat creep with those cards. The original design of it was, I think each card was supposed to get like 3% each tier. I think the first tier gets 3%, but then it's like a fixed rate after that, and so you end up with cards that can have like double the base stats of it, and then you start one-shotting people in WoW. So we'll be looking at that and fixing it. There's certain zones that don't have cards that we're going to look at putting in cards. Some in-between zones, I think, in master levels that never got it, like Dark Whisper. I'd have to look at it again, but yep, we're looking into it.
All right. And so I think this is the one you were talking about where they're asking if you could release 2 sets of equipment focused on belonging to a specific class. One type healer, DPS, one type tank, one type DPS, one where you'd also have many options.
Yeah, like I said, I like that idea. I like that idea for armor pieces going forward. And it's something that we can do now with what we have versus like redoing the whole skill trees and seeing how that works with other classes and stuff. So.
All right. Increase the quality of seed runes. For example, increasing rune seed flame 45 to 60 in current version would be useless.
I think they mean increase the availability. I mean, I'm guessing here, but availability of the current seed runes instead of adding more seed runes on the end of it. That's what we're looking into, of availability of the runes, how you get it, the rates at which you can get higher runes versus lower runes. I think we've already started looking into further balancing those things if they need it. But that goes sort of hand in hand with card refinement and stuff. These are things that give your character power that sort of got out of hand, and now certain people the balance is all out of whack, so we're going to be looking at it.
All right. Allow equipment traded for diamonds to be easier to obtain rather than having everyone frantically trying to complete diamond scrolls. Allow the game to become more mechanized.
We can look into other methods to get diamonds. Right now, all you can do is the scrolls for the diamonds, or you get them out of the shop, or I think the solo dungeon. I gotta check on that. But allow equipment traded for diamonds to be easier to obtain. Yeah, we'll look into it. We're actually looking into how we can make the chainy and diamond stuff that's there right now more accessible, less of a frustration. Especially with like swag and Kafra sets, what kind of changes we can do there with that stuff, dismantling, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
All right. Release higher leveled areas. The best would be something similar to Osiris. This would not cause conflict. Facebook will have conflicts.
I don't know what that means. Maybe they mean people will get angry on Facebook. People are always angry on Facebook. No. Similar to Osiris, or like a dungeon, something like that. We're working on new zone updates that'll come next year. Higher level areas. If you mean like end level stuff, we're looking into what we have that we can deliver soonest. Without giving too much away. A new dungeon, something like that. It might be. We're getting up to speed with that right now. So I don't want to make any promises or allude to anything. But yeah.
If you make promises you can't keep, it'll turn into a GIF and a sound bite, and it'll just be replayed on the forums for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of the game translations need to be improved. This would make every country's people feel valued, especially the skill descriptions. They need to be 100% accurate, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're actually working on those right now. There's a bunch that have been reported that we're getting translated. If you see any that need to be changed, we have that blob forum topic. I think it's in the bug reports forum topic, but someone in chat might be able to let me know. You port it there, and we can get it changed once we make sure that the translation is correct. We can go through those pretty quickly after we verify them and everything. But definitely, my opinion is not only do the translations need to be correct, but there's a lot of descriptions that need to be better and describe more of what the item does or whatever that is. So yeah.
I always thought part of the fun was trying to figure that out. As like, this could mean this or this.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. All right. Release DPS statistics. Allow it so many players can know during battle how many hit points you hit for. Players would have a clear understanding of each individual strength.
A DPS meter is a good idea, and I think it's something that we can look into. I don't know. I was reading this question actually a couple hours ago, and I was trying to figure out how we can do it, like just in my head of how we can do that. So it's something that's going to be going on our list to look into and see how we can introduce it. We do have a threat meter, but there's another question about that later on that someone's going to ask about. So without making any promises, yeah, we can look into see what we can do to add it to the game to track, so players can track them.
I think DPS meters are a really cool idea, but I fear them because then everyone will know. You know,
Yeah.
They'll know how
You're
bad
not
I'm
good.
doing.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. All right. Continue increasing items to allow them to stack to 255. Expand the number of pages in storage. Right now, 2 pages are unable to meet the needs of the players.
We intend to. Those stack changes things was just a quality of life change we wanted to do because we know that inventory is a big issue for our veteran players. It's a big issue for new players. And there was a lot of items that just didn't stack or stacked at weird increments or weird numbers. So if you have ideas, put it to the forum, make a forum topic about it, and then we'll check it out and we can see what we can do about it.
The base bag. Players also want to change this bag out. Could you allow us to switch this bag out or exchange it for an upgraded basic bag?
We have been trying to see if that's a possibility. It's sort of been not one of the biggest priorities, but we know that it's been something that we've wanted for a long time to replace that bag. It's not as easy as you know the other bag slots because the base bag is just the way it's handled on the back end. It's like required. So we're going to see what we can do with that, and I would love to be able to upgrade that bag, and I know that our developers would love to be able to upgrade that bag because they test too, and they have to have like the biggest inventory for all the items they're testing. So we're looking into it right now. It's just not going to be as easy as a turnaround fix as like the other bags or certain other fixes. So.
Attribute points need to have bigger significance or function. Right now, 90% of players all increase vitality.
Yeah, so this is part of balance in the same sense that certain classes are preferred over others. Stats are just all over the place and need to be looked at. So, in that each class has its own role and purpose, I think attributes need to do the same thing, or at least 2 certain classes need to bolster their abilities or whatever they do. So definitely.
The threat meter system needs to be optimized. Allow DPS to do a limited output rather than putting all their effort into increasing vitality in order to survive.
Yeah, we can look into it. If you have any more feedback on how you want the threat meter to change, get that up on the forum. We'll take a look at it. The vitality thing seems to be the same question the same guy had before. So yeah, definitely.
This is by the sudden change of background threw me back. This is by Arvness. My question is, what's your priority to keep the players?
So everything. It's about juggling existing events, making changes to the game, updates, bug fixes, sales, anything that we can do right now as we're also juggling longer term development, new zones, new updates, things like that. The priority is that we want to kind of change RO2 right now to what we've known the players have wanted out of it. Either that, balance and all that kind of stuff, but also I know a lot of players want more of an RO1 feel to the game, or they want to feel that nostalgia, even if RO2 is its own game, having some callbacks to some content that maybe they were aware of in RO1 for a long time. So all those things.
This is by Heavenista. Just a suggestion, by the way, but can you lower the price of the auras? Obtaining 100 is too hard enough. What more if it's 300? It will take a year and a half, or at least bring the Black Magic aura back for permanent sale and make it half the price, 150, even if it's random, because our Loki's aura is rotting as we speak. Hope you do something about it, but thanks for the new updates and recent events. It was good, by the way.
Yeah, we're looking at changing stuff right now. I mentioned earlier and how we can change it. I do know that when we came out with the new boxes, there was a request that the Loki pieces in it be either like one of each, or you get a choice of which one you want, or something like that. So we're looking into that for like rolling out the next version of those diamond boxes, because I think they only spit out aura pieces right now. So yeah, we'll check it out.
This is from Freaky Jen. Since your title is Ragnarok 2 producer, I was wondering, what does the producer actually do? I always imagine something like a movie producer, hiring director plus nagging about the deadline, paying the massive bills, and hope for the best.
There's overlap with video game producer and other producers. Actually, with movies, they would have like a casting person be the hiring person, and then they would have separate people for finance. Usually you want that because the director would probably want to get more money all the time. It's a lot of project management, making sure that all the departments are going in the same direction, that we're meeting certain goals, that analyzing what's happening and figuring out what we can do going forward. Now that we're developing RO2, it's about figuring out design and how we can change stuff, and how we and what our focus is going to be going forward as well. And it's just adding more departments to what was there before. In bigger companies, you might have more specialized producers who only work with like programmers, or there's another producer that works with artists, or there's another producer that works with community managers. In our case, we just work with all of them, and we're tied to a particular game or games. I think I once said it's a lot of herding cats and making sure the trains run on time.
That's a good description. That's by Clancy?
I don't know.
Could we get an exit dungeon button in the future? Instead of asking for a party out for a bot like Trivia Bot or another player to help with this, another option would be to add a warp at the end of the dungeon, like an Uzul cave. I'm not a programmer, so I don't know which would be easier to do.
Long term, we want to add portals to the end of caves so that we can slow down the public chat spam. And it's just something we've wanted for a long time. Once we figured it out, we can start applying it. But I think the fix that we'll go for is actually adding a portal at the end of the caves instead of having a bot like Trivia Bot. Although I think Trivia Bot feels useful by helping all those people that need to get out of dungeons every day. But yeah, definitely on our list to add to the dungeons.
Would you consider to add a new Noel union to the ones already existent? I mean, there's union for all but Noels were added later in the game. It would be so nice to have an El Shima costume.
That's a very cool idea. We actually have some union update ideas, some new quests, some updates to items, some new unions that have been given to us by players, or we've also put down. I'd have to go back and check to see if Noel unions are part of that or not. I don't remember offhand. This is why I organize everything. But yeah, that's a very cool idea, and it's something we're looking at updating and adding.
This is by Hyunsu02. I have suggested something a time ago. I wanted to know your point of view about this. Implement small changes weekly or monthly. Making this would help to not need to implement a whole patch about balances, all which may not work, so would be need to implement another one. Is not really needed a whole patch for balance if you can do tweaks in a week or month.
So I think what they're meaning is not holding off on like a balance patch. Instead of having like waiting and then we do one big balance patch. We're not going to do that. If we can roll them out incrementally, we're going to do that. The thing is, certain things have like contingencies that are going to take longer to make sure everything's going, or else you roll out something that's incomplete. So we're not really sitting on anything. When we work on something and we test it and we make sure it's good, we're pushing it now. We're pushing it to live. So that's just sort of going to be our motto. If something can go out and it fixes a skill for this one class, then we're going to do that. But if we want to adjust something with, I'm trying to think more large scale, something that would affect PvP and would affect all these other systems, then we're going to have to make sure that all those other things are updated alongside, or else you're just going to create more imbalance with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, PvP especially is tricky that way.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about using old NPC clothes as costumes, transmog items? To be honest, I've seen enough not playable characters in which I would love to use their clothes. For example, and then this picture.
I'm down. It was actually my idea way back when to take Drake's outfit and make it into a costume, which I like. So, and I think since we already have the models, it should be taking out some. It would just be about applying it, animating, and all that kind of stuff that we have to do with it. But I do like the idea. If you have any other ideas that you want to start with, post those ideas on the forum. We'll check them out.
Yay, more costumes. What do you guys think about, have talked about remove the possible use of CLS PvP rooms from swag capper costumes? From my point of view, this is an idea to which could help balancing game, lower stats, help to have better control, because before the implementation of these costumes, the game was taking a good way. Adding a new socket, only bind rooms +1 to +80 would be nice or easy to do.
So I agree. Adding stats and stuff to cosmetic items wasn't the best choice, but it's something that's been going on for years. We're looking at how we can go forward and separate PvP from PvE, and then also even cosmetic items without taking stuff away from people. Either that's going to be coming up with new armor sets where there's going to be a PvP armor set and sort of a dungeon or PvE version of it, and then finding ways to sort of negate or limit certain PvP things outside of PvP maps, or in PvP maps certain PvE things. Making the game a little bit more balanced for PvP, but also keeping in mind that we don't want to make it a completely even playing field, because then the people that like to build up their characters in PvP, they need to still have that. So that's something we're looking at the next couple of months, of what we can roll out for those kinds of changes, what we can do in order to do that while not nerfing the people or taking anything from them. But we know that it's something that people sort of want out of that. I answered that.
Any more questions? So I believe this is the part where you take questions from the chat. I think there was one more question on the forums too.
Oh, was there?
Maybe.
I think I have.
Let me
Oh, is
see
it
if
right
I can-
there?
No, it's here. There's two of them.
That one?
This one?
No, both of them, I think, yeah.
Okay. So there's one by a Steam user.
Karkarat? Is that his? I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's a guild. Alright, I know it's
Oh, Acer, I think, is a guild.
Acer's the guild. Okay, so Karkarat?
It is a weird font.
Okay. Here is my question. When is coming the new quests, cards, and pets in Dark Whisper?
It's going to be part of the leveling thing. Cards, pets are going to take the longest out of those three to put together, just because it's a model and something you have to manipulate. Quests and cards, we're getting quests underway right now, and that whole process, so it's just going to be a part of rolling out updates to those areas to revitalize them and make it easier to level in. We know Dark Whisper and Forgotten Paeon, they struggle a lot with leveling. I think Dark Whisper is the worst. But
They have another question. When is coming Niflheim?
Niflheim will be in 2017. We're looking at what we have right now and what all we want to add to it, and so trying to figure out using our resources what that can deliver. But from what I've seen, it looks really cool. But we're working on that right now, and hopefully we'll have something to show you soon. But we got to figure some stuff out first.
All right, Pepe, you? Is that okay? Any news about swag drop rate fix since this is lower than 1%? It's so frustrating to spend days farming diamonds to get nothing. Even more frustrating when you get for another gender or race. Any news on a filter check of the gender race for the correct swag being given from the swag box? And what about more ways to get another costumes like Kaffir Ruby like it was before by Snowflake?
So we're looking at that right now. The more items we can add to Cheney. We're trying to figure out a solution with the bound costume issue, bound to your character, but also by race and gender. If we unbind it, then it doesn't seem like there's any purpose for anybody to use that wrapping paper to dismantle it. We'd also like to at least double the amount of Loki pieces you get back from dismantling one of those items, because I think right now they cost you 80 and you dismantle it, you get 20. So that kind of sucks. So we're just playing around with those ideas of what we can do with it. If there's any suggestions that you guys have or any ideas, feel free to post it on the forum, and then that way other players can kind of discuss it and see, and we'll be able to play around with that idea. But that's something that trying to figure out what solution we want to do with that now, because it is a big thing. It's probably one of the bigger things RO2 gets support tickets on right now too, is those swag boxes and stuff. So we're looking at that.
All right, and so I think that's all the questions from the forum. So any questions from the chat, I believe. I don't know if there's one of the questions up here. I know that about the CSL and swag opera, use Colosseum set. I don't know if that's a question.
I think he was commenting on me not taking anything for the people, like the PvP stuff.
Okay.
Rose Wolf had a question.
Okay, anything guide on hard car quests such as Story Collector?
Like a guide on Kira quests? I don't know. I don't think we have any guides right now, but we can look into maybe piecing together some guides with Kira stuff. I know there's a lot of popular ones that would be convenient to have some guides for people to go after.
Clicker. Sorcerer's Supply wants to know if they can have a hug.
They'd have to come to the States for that,
Yes.
because I know that she is from not here.
Oh, yeah. That might make it slightly difficult.
Come to the next game night, sure.
Yeah. Free hugs from Njoror at the next game night.
I did have a player show up to one of the game nights and ask for a hug
That is awesome.
in front of her boyfriend. And he just stared at me the whole time.
That's awkward. Probably answered before, but are guardian skills still up to discuss? Implement discard.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, if you make stuff on the forums, we'll take a look at it. We were just working on some Guardian stuff recently, I think some of it rolled out, leveling your Guardian or something, where you needed to craft certain items, and the level you needed to craft the items didn't match the level that you actually got the Guardian at. So we're trying to line those up together so it's a little bit easier. So if you have feedback, ideas for Guardian skills, if that's what you mean, and I'm not talking about something completely different, post it up on the forum.
Let's see. Do you guys think about making the card system better? I think we talked about that earlier.
Improving the card system. Right now we're looking at balancing the card system and making refinement easier. Adding more to the card system, we'll be able to kind of dig in more once we get some products that we're working on right now off of our plate. It's a possibility. It would just take time, and we'd have to see what makes sense and stuff. So send us your ideas.
Have you guys thought of adding a new level of difficulty for the old dungeons raids to adapt to current conditions of play? Like only as an extra, like a master level 40 COA or AOD mythical mode?
Personally, I have, and I know that some of our volunteers have floated the idea of having a sort of max level version of those raids. They can go back and they get like armor drops from there, but they're tuned to whatever their level is. I like the idea. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a really cool idea because then you're reusing it. Story-wise, we have to figure out like what that actually means. Like, oh, Baphomet is now alive, even though you killed him a ton of times at level 50. But
It's a dream.
yeah. So yeah, that's a cool idea that we've thought about.
I just imagine that giant pouring. I can't remember which dungeon it is with the guy with the pouring and the mustache.
King Pokori?
Yeah, I
I
think
know what you're
so.
talking about. I don't remember off the top of my head.
That's the most, for some reason.
A raid dungeon or just a normal dungeon?
This is a normal dungeon.
Oh, okay.
But I was thinking of normal dungeons, like even those dungeons, just that giant pouring as like some ridiculously high-leveled mythical creature that like it would take a ridiculous number of people to kill. That'd be really funny. Do you feel a mill content?
Master level.
Master level. Oh, okay, yeah. Would solve a lot of balance issues.
Like we would have to stat squish everything. If you stat squish the players and the monsters eat you. I don't know if across the board it's gonna make sense. Let's see. We'll have to play with it. So yeah, I mean, I think that a stat squish is gonna have to come in for a lot of things for master level content. But it's gonna like target stuff like cards. It might target how certain attributes are given and stuff like that. But just like a flat, like let's all divide everything by 2 hypothetical might not help us in the long run. So it might need more of a scalpel than a shotgun approach.
Little question. Any idea what the rate of craft of a 5 stars item, or if it's at least possible?
Low. Not as low as fusing to get a 3-slotted costume, but still low. All these things are things we're looking at too, by the way. Like all these things we'll be looking at. I'm thinking of fusion right now because I just had a meeting about what we can do for fusion. It's honing is a whole thing that is gonna take a lot of undoing and fixing and changing and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be looking at that going forward and how we can fix that, because if it's confusing to players right now, like it is not very simple on the back end to manipulate. So, but we'll look at it.
We will make it awesome. Yeah, Wolf's Cave, the Adventure King Paporing. That guy.
Oh, I run through there so many times killing everything to test certain things. I don't know why. It's like one of the first ones, I guess, on the menu.
So you were talking about actual raids, so I was thinking of like just like the beginning dungeons, like
Yeah.
just having like monsters escape into the landscape and then everyone's being crushed by these harmless looking pourings.
Like a Uber Baphomet or Cremp,
Yeah.
Rat Master.
Which is the one that sings and that makes everyone like dance or something. Isn't there one that makes people dance?
Oh. Is it July?
Yeah, I think it's. I've only seen it for events.
Maybe Joel.
This new episode will help in a big way the balance.
New episode as in new update or balance is on what we're focused on right now. So new episode. Oh, maybe they mean the new solo dungeon. I'm not sure. They sometimes call them episodes. Is that again?
Will a second offhand weapon come for Sorcerer Wizard? If yes, that will be awesome.
Like priests and priests and knights and things. If it makes sense, that could be an added thing. Like I said, it would be a quicker turnaround if we could focus on what we have there. If we added offhand items, then we kind of have to change what we're doing with the staff item or the rod or whatever. So yeah.
Someone asked about the release of Niflheim, which I think answered earlier.
It's going to be next year. We're looking at it right now to see what we have. We're hoping that we can show some stuff, but we're trying to see sort of what is there and what more needs to be done, and then figuring out sort of a timeline for that. So sorry I can't give a better idea, but we're trying to get up to speed with it so that we can see what more needs to be done to complete it.
But it's not just, you're not waiting just for balance
No.
to release Niflheim. That's
No.
just Niflheim needs to be.
New zones and new stuff like that is one of the largest undertakings you can do. So it has a lot of people that need to help out on it and a lot of moving parts. So that's why.
With War Portal development, do you have any impact on future story or lore, or are you just giving these things as the days progress?
Yes, we have full control over the future story and lore. Are in the dark as well. No, we have full control over the future story and lore. So part of it is we would like to continue building on the main storyline. We'd like to add more story, more callbacks to stuff that people might know from R1, especially in certain zones. We have a lot of ideas what we can do to roll that out. So even we were considering, some lead-in stuff that we can do with quests for before Niflheim and for all that kind of stuff. A lot of people consider, the story sort of ended in the Morok update and then Forgotten Pan. So that's control over the story. Before we actually had development control, I am the one that wrote all the quests for Forgotten Pan. So you can blame me for all those. And then Jawai, they wrote the quests for, but all the holiday events I think we did. But now, yeah, we have control, and so we can kind of continue on the story that sort of ended a while ago and make stuff more relevant.
I just imagine the game's gonna be overrun by giant squid monsters. But
Really hoping to get, there was that mount contest we had like a year ago, and second place was that squid mount. And the first place was
squiggles.
First place was alpaca, which is the one that's in the store right now. But still holding out.
Have you guys thought about changing the display of the stats? For example, when someone gets 65,535 magic power, he can't know anymore what his current magic power.
Yeah, I mean, I always consider that a bug. When that sort of stuff gets out of control and it becomes a UI bug where you can't see that. So, yeah, that's something that we need to look into.
Epley wants to know, can I have an NPC?
If we need to roll out new stuff and I find a reason to pluck player names, maybe we can run an event or something where we can do that. We have 2 NPCs in Frontera that used to be player NPC, or players that are now NPCs. Actually, that's not a bad idea. We might be able to do that. We'll get back to you. We might be able to run something where we fill out Frontera with more people, or we fill out Alberta with more people, because that's now mostly deserted with everybody in Frontera or Morok.
I think you should fill the game with more sharks. Just my personal opinion. To fill the void between questions. Dragons. Yeah, I also accept dragons. Veritasmos. And bats. Dragon bats.
Somebody asked, will there be a game guard coming? No third party, but we're working on actually a fix that we have for our other games for certain cheat programs that are running and causing amok. It's just a matter of implementing it for our game. So we'll be actually running all the back end stuff for that. We won't need a game guard because we'll be putting in all the checks and whatnot. That will be coming soon. We will probably not be announcing when it's in game, because then that just alerts the people that are using that program, and we would like to catch them and put them in a deep dark hole.
Yes. They can fall forever. Your 10,000, you guys give me NPC or a prize. I don't.
If your ant's that high, maybe you can figure it out yourself. That's terrible.
Can we remove all the air walls in the mountains?
If you remove the air walls, then you're just going to be able to run off the map. So then the issue will be our GMs having to pluck people that are falling endlessly.
Just remove all the safeguards, let people just run off into the falling forever land. Any changes for Coliseum?
Yes, we're working on, right now actually, figuring out new reward updates for Coliseum, some quality of life changes, how we can change that system, playing with some ideas as far as if we still want to keep it free for all, if we want to do random teams, do we want to keep the monsters in there, what do we want to do with that, because we know that it is free for all, but if you kind of queue up for it at the same time as your buddy, you're bound to get in the same one. If you guys are using the same raid call or Discord, then you can kind of coordinate with that. So, plus I think that the teams versus free for all allows certain support classes to have more of a use. If you're a healer or something, you can heal your team versus if you're in there free for all, you're gonna get smoked by somebody who's like an assassin or something. So. Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that and ideas for the other PvP stuff. But I think Coliseum will probably come first because it's the one that I think is still mostly works well versus the other two. WoW still works, but it has a lot of bouncing stuff. Jehoon needs a lot of love. So.
Fun is fun. I think that's probably a matter of opinion. Some people might find falling off the map more fun than others. Hey, Udun.
Wait, did we say the name right?
Did I say it wrong?
I think she said it's Eden.
Eden.
Or that might be the way I said it, and she said it was wrong.
What if I was saying it right and now I'm saying it wrong?
Or Idun. Idun.
Any changes for Jihoon?
Yeah, so that we're looking into also updating the rewards for like a global queue system, sort of like how Coliseum has, so that you don't have to run to Payon Forest or use the portals or the warp scroll to get there, and some other stuff. So yeah, we're looking at that too.
And this teams in Coliseum will be needed one of all classes because a whole group of SM and Warrior Knights would be bad.
If we do the team one, we would be figuring out if we could set a certain standard for teams needing these certain classes and these, or it has to be completely random. We don't know. We're playing around with it right now, so, or with the idea of it.
Some time ago I asked about remove buffs when you entered at the Coliseum. Have you guys thought about it?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was reading something else for a second there. Yeah, that's actually part of some ideas that we have. That's something that everyone steps in fresh and equal. So that would be part of it.
Can you tell us what will come after Niflheim?
No. I have some ideas, and we have some ideas, but no. I can't. I don't want to say anything now and then like every single stream from here until then.
That's exactly.
When's that coming out? I guess I could say that we are now looking at how we can tie RO2 back to RO1. But yeah, can't go into any more than that.
I missed any questions, not? Eden says, I know and will sell the answer for the right price. I like this picture. I don't know if you had a chance to see what was happening back there. Any other questions? Anyone have questions? No? You don't have questions?
I don't have any
You don't have questions? I don't have any questions. I don't actually normally wrap this up. Is there anything else that...
Stay tuned next week for Halloween stuff. A new accessory that's going to be coming in the Phantom Pyramid that no one else has except for me, I think.
So jealous.
And yeah, just we'll have more of these streams, and we'll try and go over some stuff that's coming out. So.
is going to be cooler than the bone dragon wings?
It is cooler for the month of October.
Okay.
Oh
That's
no,
fair.
it is cooler all year round.
I know you're gonna. So is that it says, oh guys, or someone, is the accessory free-handedly related?
It is not.
And any more? I have a dumb question. Oh, are any questions really dumb? Yes, ask quickly. Do. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on a live stream, actually. I'm gonna stop saying that. As a I guess a promo for something unrelated, because I've hijacked the live stream. Spook Portal starting tomorrow, so I'm gonna be playing Amnesia tomorrow, 5 to 6 this time. So we have the Halloween bonfire of 2013 again.
So the Halloween bonfire 2013 was me messing up. We had organized a sort of server meet in Divided Plain, and the CM at the time, Zanby, had organized people there, and I remember wanting to spawn this like fiery pit thing in the center because it looked really cool, and I think instead of setting like 1,000-second duration, I instead created 1,000 fire pits on top of each other, and normally it would only like ding like a little bit of health off of you, but 1,000 at the same time doing that was instant death.
Yeah.
And so people were just throwing themselves into this pit.
I remember that.
And we were having GMs like try and revive them and pull them, and they would just jump immediately back in as soon as they were alive. We can do that.
Do you really want to do that?
Yes.
It's.
Yes.
We can do that. It'll be scary. But I don't think we've had that since then. So let's see. Maybe like the
Very nostalgic.
the week before Halloween or something.
Will there be an NPC to change gender of swag in the future?
I don't know if there's going to be an NPC to change the swag, because we're looking at if we can reduce the restrictions of those items, but I think if we had an NPC to change the gender, it would. I don't know. I think there's probably easier solutions we can do for that whole system to make it more convenient than adding a new NPC for that. But we'll see.
All right. So yeah, I think that's. Any more
That's it.
questions? That's it. All right. So tune in tomorrow though at 5 to 6 for I'm gonna play Amnesia, and I'm not gonna start at the beginning because the beginning's not scary. So I'm gonna play for like an hour first, then we're gonna start from there because it gets progressively scarier. So.
Didn't you play that game last year where you were like the baby and?
Oh, that stupid game. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I had to rewatch all of them. Like recently, and I looked at it, and I literally just hid until people yelled at me, and I moved again because I hated it so much. But Amnesia's much more frightening.
Yeah.
So it'll be much less progress. So you guys should tune in and laugh at me. So
What time is that?
That's 5 to 6
5 to 6
tomorrow. 5 to 6. We're starting Spook Portal. So yeah.
And don't forget, if you just want to watch just 24 hours of insanity.
And Extra Life is coming next month. So the notices are up on the forums.
The
so
21st, 22nd?
21st, 22nd. I'm going to be here for the entire 24 hours. So I'm very excited for the 7 o'clock delirium that usually starts setting in the next day.
I want to do an RO2 raid that day. Join me.
Definitely. Definitely things to look forward to.
Okay, I guess we're done. Thanks for everybody who showed up and asked questions or had questions on the forum. We'll try and get some answers on the forum for those people. I know one of the questions we had to have translated by one of our people here. So I'm going to try and get those my answers retranslated so we can post them up on the forum so that person doesn't have to use Google Translate. So yeah, thanks for showing up.
Goodbye, everyone.